Hercule Poirot, I've found something. I've seen a million of these so-called psychics, each one a fake.
I do not believe in psychics.
Detective, you are here to discredit me, but I can talk to the dead. If someone wants to be heard, we are here, listening.
Mama? Felicia?
Somebody is dead. No one shall leave this place until I know who did it. There must be a rational answer for all of this. Something in this house tried to kill me.
In the heart of Venice, a group of strangers are gathered for a Halloween séance at a decaying palazzo. But when one of them is murdered, the detective on the case must uncover the dark secrets of the palazzo and its guests. Is it a haunted house or a deadly game of deception? The movie is set in 1947, Venice, Italy. Hercule Poirot, played by Kenneth Branagh, awakens from a bad dream. Despite having given up on being a detective and moving to Venice, he is nevertheless frequently asked for assistance in cracking cases. Vitale Portfoglio, a former police officer played by Riccardo Scarmasio, serves as Poirot's bodyguard and prevents anyone from bothering him. Ariadne Oliver, an old friend played by Tina Fey, pays Poirot a visit. Her last several books have not been very well received as an author. Poirot receives an invitation from Ariadne to join her for a Halloween celebration at Rowena Drake's, played by Kelly Riley's palazzo. The star attraction will be a séance led by well-known medium Joyce Reynolds, played by Michelle Yeoh, who has been described as the unholy Mrs. Reynolds by the media. Poirot and Vitale accompany Ariadne across the canal as they arrive at the palazzo. A group of children are there, being told a story about how the palazzo used to be an orphanage, but the doctors and nurses abandoned the children to die there during the plague, leading to the belief that the spirits of the children haunt the palazzo. There is said to be a curse, the children's vendetta, and any victim is marked with a slash on them as a sign. One of the children, Leopold, played by Jude Hill, is taken care of by the housemaid, Olga Semenoff, played by Camille Cotton, as he does not join the other children and prefers to read a Poe book. Leopold goes to see his nervous father, Dr. Leslie Ferrier, played by Jamie Dornan. Poirot and Ariadne see Rowena, and Ariadne notes that the previous year, Rowena lost her daughter Alicia, played by Rowan Robinson, in what is believed to be a suicide after she fell from the balcony. Because of this, Rowena has had trouble selling the palazzo. Olga and Dr. Ferrier also feel a sense of loss since they knew and cared for Alicia as well. Joyce and her assistant, Desdemona Holland, played by Emma Laird, arrive at the palazzo. After the children go home, Joyce along with others go into Alicia's room. Olga informs Poirot that Alicia had started having hallucinations of the deceased children prior to her passing. They discover Baba, a stuffed rabbit owned by Alicia. Maxime Girard, played by Kyle Allen, Alicia's ex-fiancé, shows up seemingly uninvited. He is disliked by Rowena and Ferrier, but he says someone else invited him. Joyce sits in the center of the circle where everyone is assembled to begin the séance. Any sign that Joyce is communicating with Alicia's ghost comes from what looks to be typewriter keys being pressed. Poirot breaks the illusion by exposing Desdemona's half-brother Nicholas, played by Ali Khan, the second assistant, in the chimney, who was flipping a switch to cause the typewriter's keys to press automatically. Joyce then starts to whirl around and make horrifying noises and motions before frightening some of the visitors by speaking to Rowena in an Alicia-like voice. Despite Ariadne's objections, Poirot makes an attempt to leave. Joyce tells him that she believes Poirot has seen enough deaths to understand her, but it would be easier and less traumatic for her if she were a fraud. She urges him to lighten up as she puts her robe and mask on him. After that, Poirot passes the pot where the kids were bobbing for apples and tries to do the same. However, an unknown somebody pushes his head into the water and tries to drown him. Vitale finds him, and then they hear a scream. Joyce's body falls outside and impales on a statue. A storm breaks out outside, filling the canals and making it impossible for anybody to escape the palazzo. The visitors start to lose their minds and become suspicious, thinking that Joyce might have been killed by a paranormal power. Poirot locks everyone inside and starts to assume that she was murdered by one of them. Poirot starts questioning the suspects while Ariadne is accompanying him. Olga and Dr. Ferrier, who has post-traumatic stress disorder and is plagued by memories of his time at the liberation of Bergen-Belsen because of his guilt about not being able to help the victims at that time, are the first people Poirot and Ariadne meet with. He claims that because he was in love with Rowena, taking on Alicia was a favor for her. After making an excuse to use the restroom, Poirot thinks he sees Alicia's ghost in the mirror behind him. When he finds Leopold outside, the youngster claims to hear the voices of the ghost children and tells him that Poirot is jittery like Dr. Ferrier. Then, in order to obtain unbiased accounts, Poirot and Ariadne interrogate Nicholas and Desdemona individually. They share their stories of the event and their background as Romani immigrants attempting to reach the United States. The siblings stole from Joyce, and Poirot finds out that Joyce may have threatened them. After punching Vitaly, Desdemona tries to flee, but Olga trips her and knocks her down. Poirot thinks he heard the sound of a child singing, which Leopold also claims to hear. The telephone in the lobby rings, but when Poirot and Vitaly pick it up, no one is present. Poirot then appears to see one of the ghost children and follows her, until Ariadne calls him and he finds nobody after turning his head back. They all hear sound, and although Rowena claims there isn't a basement in the home, Poirot believes it is coming from there. The group moves downstairs and finds a hidden room with the word Dottore, meaning doctor in Italian, written on the wall, further alluding to the children's vendetta. Dr. Ferrier begins to have a panic attack, and when Maxime tells him to keep it together, they get into a fight until Ferrier almost kills Maxime before Leopold calms him down. Ferrier goes to lie down in the music room and is locked inside, with Poirot having the only key. Poirot and Ariadne then speak to Maxime, who has a half of a ripped picture of Alicia. He claims he had to break off his engagement to her because Rowena did not approve of him, and Alicia seemed desperate to keep her mother happy. Poirot looks over Maxime's invitation and figures out what the word apple means. Ariadne carried an apple with her when she arrived at his house. Poirot approaches her and Vitaly, claiming to have discovered their plot to lure him to the palazzo by working with Joyce. Ariadne intended to exploit the séance and Poirot's failure to solve it as the foundation for her new fiction, but Vitaly knew the ins and outs of the palazzo as the cop who found the body of Alicia in the canal and looked into her death. After a run of bad stories, Ariadne tells him that she needed a good new story. Then Desdemona barges in and orders Poirot to hurry with the key. The group finds Ferrier dead with a knife in his back. Leopold is devastated at the sight. After the group disperses, Olga talks to Poirot and says that Rowena was always by Alicia's side before her death, but prior to it, Olga heard voices coming from her room. Poirot then looks at photos of Alicia and notices one of her as a little girl, the same little girl he thought he saw in the house earlier. He also notices a specific type of flower in one of the pictures. In another brief state of delusion, Poirot turns around as the house's pet parrot knocks over a teacup. Poirot goes to clean it up and then finds the other half of Maxime's picture, which is of himself and Alicia. Poirot then gathers the guests together, as he has solved the mystery. The killer is none other than Rowena herself. Poirot explains that Rowena had planted rhododendrons in her garden and extracted a honey from it that she used to drug Alicia, keeping her under care against her while following her returning after breaking things off with Maxime. The honey also caused hallucinations, which made Alicia believe that she saw the ghost children, and it is the same honey that Poirot earlier consumed with tea and made him see ghosts too. When Alicia was having a psychotic break, Olga unknowingly administered more honey because she believed it was coming to her, but she accidentally gave her a fatal overdose. Rowena threw Alicia's body into the canal and staged it as a suicide. The revelation causes Olga to feel extreme guilt. Rowena later learned she was being blackmailed and suspected either Joyce or Ferrier. She was the one who attempted to drown Poirot, believing it was Joyce since he was wearing her mask and robe. When she did find Joyce, she pushed her off the balcony to her death, and she used a hand rake to mark her back with the so-called children's vendetta, as she did with Alicia. But since Rowena was nowhere near Ferrier when he died, Poirot explains this as her finding out that he blackmailed her, and she threatened Leopold's life unless he did what she said, so Ferrier walked backwards into a knife to spare his son. Poirot figures that Rowena was hoping that blaming the deaths on ghosts would get her off easy. Rowena begins to make a run for it. Poirot pursues her to the balcony, where she aims a weapon at him. A flash of thunder strikes, and Poirot sees what looks like Alicia's ghost appear behind Rowena. The ghost then seems to pull Rowena down, sending her plunging into the canal to her death. The canal opens up in the morning, and the visitors start to depart. Leopold is adopted by Olga, and Poirot discovers that he was the one who blackmailed her after supposing Rowena was manufacturing poison. Moreover, he had been attempting to provide for his father by utilizing the funds Rowena had sent as ransom. Before apparently parting ways forever, Poirot and Ariadne have one final talk. With some measure of faith restored, Poirot returns to his house. A man who had previously approached him enters his house in the hopes that Poirot can help him figure out why his sibling and parents died. Little details already lead Poirot to conclude that the family doctor was involved in an attempt to gain their inheritance, and the renowned detective takes up the investigation. Thank you for joining us on this intriguing journey through the mysterious canals of a famous Italian city. Please give the video a like and share the video. Did you spot the hidden clues and eerie moments in this suspenseful film set in Venice? What were your favorite suspenseful scenes, and did the setting add to the overall ambience? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling movie discussions.